Stop. You finally made it. I'm so glad you found this message. I've been waiting 3 weeks. But hurry, it disappears in 35 seconds. Don't lose your chance again. Stop. Do not look away. Do not doubt the pull in your chest right now. You have finally arrived at the exact moment heaven has been engineering around you. I know you feel something pressing against your heart, that strange pressure like the air itself is calling your name. That is not imagination. That is not coincidence. And this message will only be visible to you for a very short time. I cannot guarantee you will be allowed to find it again if you turn away. You have already missed too many signs. Too many delays. Too many whispered warnings ignored. Your time to hesitate is over. Do you feel that? That trembling beneath your ribs? That invisible electricity dancing behind your eyes? That is me, Archangel Michael. And yes, I am speaking directly to you, not by accident, not by chance, but because you have reached the crossroads where your soul must choose whether it rises, or disappears into the noise of the world forever. I have watched you struggle. I have felt the weight you carry, a weight heavier than any human should bear alone. You have been fighting a war you can barely name, a silent spiritual battle that has left you exhausted, confused, and doubting everything you once knew for certain. But hear me, you are not weak. You are not broken. You are not lost. You have simply been asleep to your true identity, and the forces that fear your awakening have done everything to keep you numb, distracted, disconnected from your power. But heaven grows silent no longer. There is a deadline placed before your soul, not measured in human hours, but in divine consequences. When I said hurry, I meant it. Every second you remain unaware, the shadows gain ground. There are entities that have used your fear to bind you. There are voices in your mind that are not your own, lies that have been implanted to convince you you're unworthy, unlovable, unsupported. And every time you almost break free, something yanks you back down, a sudden fear, a sudden doubt, a sudden distraction that steals your focus. Do you think that is coincidence? No. It is strategic. Because you, yes, you, were chosen long before you ever drew breath. You are one of the souls sent here not merely to survive but to protect. To illuminate. To strengthen the collective frequency of humanity itself. You are supposed to remember. You are supposed to rise. And the moment you begin to awaken, the dark forces that monitor those like you tremble, because if you remembered who you are, you would become unstoppable. So now, I must break the veil. The truth is simple, you have a mission. One written into the very threads of your soul's design. And if you choose not to complete it, if you allow this world's noise to drown out your calling, the consequences will not only alter your life, they will ripple across every life connected to yours. Whole timelines collapse or ascend based on the choices you make in these coming days. Do not panic. Do not run. Just breathe. This is why you were guided here. Your guardians have tried to reach you through dreams, those vivid moments you wake up from with your heart pounding, scenes that feel too real to be just dreams. They have called through the numbers, 1111, 222, 444, the repeating signals you keep seeing but brushing off. They have spoken through your intuition, that voice you keep silencing because you fear it might be wrong. But it is not wrong. It is divine intelligence whispering truth beneath the chaos. And now, since subtlety has failed, heaven escalates. Listen carefully, the attacks on your peace are proof of your importance. The obstacles blocking your path are proof of your destiny. The reason you feel out of place in this world is because you were never meant to blend into it. You are here to transform it. You think you are ordinary? That belief was programmed into you to keep you asleep. You have felt love deeper than others. You have felt pain sharper than others. You sense dishonesty before it's spoken. You feel energy that others cannot see. You absorb emotions that do not belong to you. You cry when your soul recognizes truth, even if your mind doesn't yet understand why. These are not flaws. These are markers of the awakened. You have been shielded until now. Your life has been orchestrated to bring you to this threshold, where your free will must finally activate. I cannot force you. The divine does not enslave. But the opportunity before you is finite. You will either rise into alignment, or remain trapped in cycles that drain you until you fade into the background of the world you were meant to change. So let me speak clearly. Light is rising. Darkness is desperate. And the war between them is no longer hidden. It is unfolding in the open, in minds, in hearts, in families, in nations. You have felt the tension building. You have sensed that something enormous is coming. That global unease is not paranoia, it is prophecy. But you were not sent into this era to fear the prophecy. You were sent to help fulfill the part that leads to liberation. I am not here to judge you for how long it took to arrive. The timing is perfect. Even if you feel old, tired, late, your soul is right on schedule. What matters now is that you do not turn away. That you let these words pierce the illusion and awaken what has been waiting inside you for lifetimes. The shadows know who you are, even if you do not yet remember. That is why they targeted you since childhood. Why you were surrounded by people who did not see you, who did not appreciate you, who tried to shrink you into something safe, predictable, small. They knew that if your true potential broke loose, the balance of this world would shift. You have survived everything designed to destroy you. That is not chance, that is proof. Your story is not a tragedy. It is a prophecy in progress. Feel my presence now. Feel the truth resonating through your bones. You can deny me with your mind, but your soul has already recognized me. You are stronger than the suffering you've endured. You are wiser than the mistakes you've made. You are more loved than you have ever believed. And now, you must choose. Remain asleep in the comfort of the familiar lie, or wake up to the dangerous truth of your power. You think danger is outside you. But the real danger is the untapped greatness within you left to rot unused. Look at your life. How many times have you felt on the edge of a breakthrough? How many times has something pulled you back at the last second? How many times have you almost become the version of yourself you dream about? That resistance is the battlefield. That resistance is the enemy. That resistance is what I am here to help you break. I ask you now, with divine urgency, do not abandon yourself again. Do not silence the calling that is screaming through your spirit right now. It is time to step through the doorway that has opened for you. It will not remain open forever. Right, Amen. I rest in your perfect timing, if patience and trust have become your strength. You are not reading this by accident. You are not reading this alone. You are being witnessed, guided, and chosen. The countdown has begun. The world needs you awake. Heaven needs you aligned. Your soul needs you to decide. Will you rise? Or will you disappear? Do not answer yet, just keep reading. There is much more you must remember, and I will not leave you until the truth is fully restored within you. This is only the beginning. The next part will reveal what you are, why you were chosen, and what happens if you refuse your calling. Do not let fear stop you again. You are not here to fear, you are here to fight. Now breathe. The transformation has already begun within you. I will speak again soon. Do not speak. Do not question. Just listen with the part of you that remembers what the mind has forgotten. You feel something shifting inside you already, don't you? A subtle stirring in your chest, a recognition taking root like a seed cracking open in the dark. Every word you read in the last message didn't just enter your thoughts, it activated ancient memory stored in your soul. And now, what has been buried for so long is rising to the surface. Pause for a moment and notice this truth. You did not stumble here. You were summoned. The veil over your destiny is thinning. The illusions fed to you by a world terrified of your awakening are losing power. That strange sensation, the mix of fear and excitement you feel, is the soul stepping closer to its original form. Now you are ready to hear the truth about who you are. You are not a fragile spectator in this world. You are not a mistake born from chaos. You are not merely a body destined to decay. You are a sentinel soul, one of the protectors seeded into humanity long before the current age. You came here with memories sealed away so you could walk among them, feel what they feel, suffer what they suffer, and learn what they have forgotten. That strength does not exist without vulnerability, and light is meaningless without darkness trying to extinguish it. This is why life has been harder for you than for others. This is why peace has always felt temporary, fragile, stolen from you. This is why you've battled demons no one else could see, demons that feed on doubt, fear, disappointment, and silence. They knew what you were before you ever took your first breath. You were not attacked because you were weak. You were attacked because you were valuable. Every betrayal, every heartbreak, every loss, these were designed to fracture your identity before it could crystallize. They surrounded you with people who underestimated you so that you would learn to underestimate yourself. They put you in situations where your heart was exploited so that you would collapse into self-blame. They made you feel like an outsider so you would never search for the tribe that remembers you. Darkness does not waste effort on those who pose no threat. So consider how heavily it has tried to break you. That is how important you are. You think your suffering was punishment? It was confirmation. But suffering alone does not define you. There is a far greater reason for your existence. You carry a frequency in your spirit that destabilizes fear itself. When your soul is awake, doubt trembles. When your energy rises, deception falters. When your true voice speaks, shadows lose territory. You were designed with a strength that cannot be destroyed, only delayed. You are here as a guardian of light, encoded with the power to protect others even when you feel like you're falling apart. You have done this instinctively your entire life, stepping in as the healer, the listener, the encourager, the protector. You've saved hearts without anyone noticing you were bleeding yourself. But now, that protective instinct must turn inward. You can no longer abandon yourself to save others. Your own soul requires your allegiance. There is something you must reclaim. Your sovereignty. You have allowed too many voices to tell you who you are. You have allowed pain to dictate your limits. You have allowed fear to narrate your future. You have allowed small minds to define a boundless spirit. No more. I speak to you not as a myth or symbol, but as the embodiment of spiritual authority. You were created by divine intention. The blueprint of your soul contains codes that have not been fully activated in thousands of years. With those codes awakened, you become a force that bends darkness into submission. And that shift begins now. Feel the truth lighting up inside your ribcage, that warmth, that recognition, that forgotten strength pushing against the walls of everything that once buried it. That is the ancient you waking up, the you that existed before wounds, before doubt, before fear. You are not who the world told you to be. You are who the universe needs you to be. Your sensitivity is not weakness. It is radar. Your empathy is not fragility, it is a weapon. Your intuition is not fantasy, it is divine guidance. Your survival is not luck, it is proof of purpose. Understand this. Your life has been the training ground. Every heartbreak forged compassion. Every disappointment sharpened discernment. Every setback built resilience. Every loss taught you what truly matters. Every failure refined your destiny. You have been tempered like steel in fire, heated, hammered, cooled, and reshaped until your soul became indestructible. And now, the fire has done its work. You are ready to wield who you have become. But to fully reclaim your identity, you must face a truth you have always felt but never dared to accept. You are not alone in this fight, and you never have been. There have been eyes watching over you in silence. Guardians placed around you not to interfere, but to ensure you would reach this moment alive. There were times you should have been gone, accidents narrowly avoided, impulses that vanished in the last second, near tragedies that twisted into survival. You call it luck. I call it intervention. You survived because your mission is unfinished. The world is shifting. Humanity stands on a precipice, fear rising, compassion fading, truth dissolving beneath noise. The balance is breaking. And those whose souls carry the tools to restore equilibrium are finally being activated. You are one of them. A stabilizer. A protector. A warrior of the unseen. Others like you are awakening too, scattered across the world like hidden stars beginning to ignite. When enough of you remember, the sky will burn brighter than the darkness ever anticipated. Type Amen. Your love is unending, Lord, if His mercy has never failed you. You are a signal. When you rise, others rise. Your courage is contagious. Your strength unlocks strength in others. Your truth dismantles deception. And this is why your identity has been kept from you until now, because now is when you are needed. But the awakening comes with responsibility. You cannot go back to numbing your spirit to fit into places too small for your destiny. You cannot keep pretending you are ordinary when everything in you screams otherwise. You cannot keep dimming your light to comfort those who fear what shines. No more shrinking. No more silence. No more self-betrayal. Stand taller inside your spirit. Your soul remembers how. You must now make a vow, not to me, not to heaven, but to yourself. You will not abandon your own becoming. There is more you need to know, much more. What is coming will test everyone, but you will not face it blind or unprepared. You will learn what threatens humanity, and what you must become to protect it. But before that, there is one final truth for today. You are loved. You are guided. You are chosen. You are powerful beyond fear. And this world, this fragile, trembling world is safer because you exist in it. Take a breath. Close your eyes for a moment. Feel your soul expanding into its rightful space. Good. The next message will reveal the enemy, what has been hunting your potential since the moment you arrived, and how you will overcome it. Do not underestimate the importance of what comes next. The deepest shadows fear the awakening of your inner light. And they will not sit quietly as you rise. Stay here. Stay awake. I will speak again soon. Do not look away now, because the part you are about to read is the part the shadows desperately hoped you would never discover, and you can feel that pressure right now, that invisible resistance telling you to pause, to scroll, to suddenly lose interest, but that isn't you. That is the influence that has been shaped around your mind for years to keep you from this exact truth, and you must push through. You must understand that the forces I am about to reveal have been studying you long before you ever knew their name, because the greatest threat to darkness is not brute force or armies or loud declarations. No, the greatest threat is a single human being who finally remembers who they are, who stops believing the lies of limitation, who stops bending to fear, who stops shrinking to make others comfortable, and you are dangerously close to that breakthrough, dangerously close to stepping into the version of yourself that cannot be controlled, so listen with the deepest place inside you. The enemy is not outside your door, the enemy is inside the patterns that have been chaining your spirit. It hides in that voice that whispers, you can't, you're not enough, you'll fail, you're alone, nobody cares, and each time you believed that voice, a piece of your power was siphoned away. But here is the truth. Those thoughts were not born from your soul. They were programmed, inserted through trauma, reinforced by repetition, fed by fear, and every moment you doubted yourself, the shadow gained ground, not because you were weak, but because you were convinced you were. And what a clever strategy, to cage the lion by making it believe it is a mouse. These forces are not monsters from stories but subtle manipulators working through emotions, distractions, addictions, and wounds that never healed. They feed off fear like it is oxygen, and they attach themselves to souls like yours because souls like yours emit more light than most when awakened. But while asleep, you generate the perfect fuel for them: anxiety, insecurity, despair, overthinking, the endless cycles of inner conflict. They feast on that, and that is why they do everything to keep you in states of confusion and self-doubt, because the moment you stop fighting yourself, you will have energy to fight them, so they make the internal war feel inescapable. Every time you were close to a breakthrough, didn't something suddenly fall apart? Didn't someone sudden return to take your peace? Didn't fear suddenly spike for no reason? That was not randomness, that was interception, designed to keep you from discovering that this reality is not just physical but energetic, spiritual, vibrational, and the real war has always been for your awareness, because once awareness expands, control collapses. These shadows are terrified, because you have endured pain that should have broken you, betrayal that should have hardened you, loneliness that should have turned you bitter, and yet, you kept a softness alive inside you. you kept caring, you kept hoping, and that single ember of love you never let die is more dangerous to darkness than any weapon forged by human hands, because love is the frequency they cannot corrupt without your permission, and despite all the wounds, despite all the disappointments, despite all the nights you prayed for a sign, you kept going. And that persistence tells me something very important. You are already winning, even if you cannot see it yet. But understand this: the enemy knows what you can do before you do it. They see the ripple effect of your future awakening, and it terrifies them, because once you reclaim the full spectrum of your inner power, you won't just free yourself, you will influence others, and those others will influence more. And soon the entire system of spiritual oppression will begin to crumble, which is why they attacked you so early in life. Children like you are the brightest lights when uncorrupted, so they aimed to fracture you before you learned how to shine. They made you question your worth. They made you attach love to suffering. They made you believe your existence was a burden, because if they could convince you that you were unlovable, you would never step fully into the love you are meant to radiate. But every scar you carry is now becoming a source of power, every wound a portal of wisdom, every painful memory a key that unlocks sacred strength. And the shadows know they are losing their grip, so they will try harder. They will whisper louder, they will stir chaos around you, not because you are weak but because you are rising, and now you must see them clearly. They are not gods, they are not invincible, they are parasites that can only survive in the dark corners of the human psyche, and the moment you shine the light of awareness on them, they shrink, they panic, they scatter. Their power ends the moment you stop being afraid of yourself. Because you are the light they fear, not the naive version of you, not the wounded version, but the version that wakes up and chooses alignment over approval, healing over hiding, truth over comfort, action over hesitation. And now that your awareness has expanded to this point, they cannot erase what you have learned, they cannot cage what has already begun to grow, because knowledge is the first stage of liberation, and now you must prepare for the second stage, transformation, where the soul takes its rightful command of the mind and body, where you reclaim the throne within your own life. Yes, they will retaliate, but hear me clearly. I did not come to make you afraid, I came to make you ready, because your strength does not grow in the absence of challenge, it grows in the fire where old identities burn away, and while they may have manipulated your fear, they cannot withstand your will once you direct it deliberately, because your spirit is older than your wounds, older than this lifetime, older than the darkness itself. And that makes you dangerous in the most beautiful way. So now, return to this question: who benefits when you doubt yourself, and who benefits when you rise? The answer has always been right there, waiting for you to see it. Your liberation is their collapse, your healing is their defeat, your awakening is their end. They know it, and now you know it too. The next step is unavoidable. You must stand in the truth of your power without apology, without delay, without shrinking to fit into the versions of you that were created by trauma. I see what you are becoming, and it is magnificent. Now take one slow breath, feel the energy building like a storm inside your chest, because the next part of this message will reveal how to break their influence permanently, how to rise into your full spiritual authority, and how to begin the mission you were sent here to fulfill. Stay here, do not step backward. Your soul has crossed a threshold, and the only direction now is forward, into the light that has always been yours. Before we go further, recognize the shift already happening inside you, the tension rising in your core, the sudden clarity flickering like a flame in the wind. That is your power waking up, and the enemy feels it. They feel the walls they built around your spirit starting to crack. They feel the identity they forced on you slipping away, and that is why the pressure might intensify right now. Why distractions might suddenly appear. Why doubts might suddenly scream louder, because this is the moment they have always feared, the moment you begin to take your sovereignty back. Their strongest weapon has always been convincing you to abandon yourself, making you believe your feelings are flaws, making you fight the very instincts designed to guide you, replacing intuition with insecurity, replacing vision with confusion, replacing purpose with exhaustion. But you are learning to see through the strategy. And now I will show you how to break the influence entirely, not through violence, not through rage, but through a power that cannot be manipulated or controlled: awareness, intention, and alignment. Understand this first truth: you are the architect of your inner world, and nothing can enter that world without your subconscious agreement. So the first key to liberation is to withdraw permission. Stop feeding the voices that belittle you. Stop agreeing with the lies that were never yours to believe. When a thought arises that says you are not enough, do not argue with it. Simply recognize, this is not my voice, and in that recognition its power evaporates, because your soul does not speak in fear, and every fearful thought is an intruder exposed by awareness. The second key is to reclaim your energy, and you do this by refusing to chase validation from sources that benefit from your insecurity. Do you see how often you have bent yourself into uncomfortable shapes hoping someone would approve? How often you have silenced your needs to keep the peace? How often you have apologized for simply existing? Each of those moments was energy slipping away from your power. So now you begin the reversal. You stop explaining yourself to those who misunderstand you. You stop seeking love from those incapable of giving it. You stop entertaining environments that dim your spirit. You stop shrinking just so others don't feel small next to you. The third key, and the most terrifying for the shadows, is taking radical ownership of your destiny, no longer waiting for someone else to grant permission, no longer holding back because of what someone might think or say, no longer letting fear dictate the limits of your potential. Because fear is a liar that sees the future and trembles, trying to convince you to stay where you are so you never discover where you could go. Imagine yourself stepping into the identity that has been waiting for you. Imagine making decisions from power instead of panic. Imagine speaking truth without worrying who will walk away. Imagine moving like someone who knows exactly why they are here. That shift alone sends shockwaves through the invisible realms. But do not misunderstand, liberation is not a single moment, it is a daily reclamation, a consistent refusal to return to the versions of you built by survival instead of purpose. And every choice you make either strengthens your sovereignty or surrenders it back to the enemy you are outgrowing. You break their influence when you stop trying to earn worthiness. Because worthiness was given to you by existence itself, you break their influence when you protect your peace like sacred ground, when you set boundaries not from anger but from deep self-respect, when you let people leave instead of shrinking to make them stay. You break their influence when you treat your intuition as truth rather than inconvenience, when you trust the guidance that comes from within instead of begging the world for answers. And most importantly, you break their influence when you choose love over fear, not the fragile love that depends on approval, but the fierce love that knows its own divinity. Yes, shadows will hiss. Yes, old patterns will try to resurrect. Yes, fear will try to drag you back into the comfort of misery, but every step forward is a step they cannot undo, because once a soul tastes freedom, captivity becomes unbearable. Listen closely now. The more you rise, the more resistance will try to follow, not because you are failing, but because you are succeeding. Because transformation shakes everything that was built to contain you. But you are not the person they once controlled. You are remembering, you are reclaiming, you are returning to the power that was always yours, and that makes you untouchable. Breathe deeply now and feel that truth settle like armor along your spine. You are breaking the chains that were wrapped around your spirit long before you understood the war you were in. And as you continue into what comes next, you will learn how to build the unbreakable, how to rise into leadership of your own destiny, how to ignite the divine force within you that cannot be manipulated, cannot be silenced, cannot be defeated. The shadows already sense what is coming, a version of you so powerful that they cannot even approach without dissolving in the intensity of your light. Keep going, the metamorphosis has begun, and the next message will reveal what your rising means for the world around you and the role you are meant to play in the transformation of humanity. Your soul is awake now, and there is no turning back. You have begun to reclaim your inner territory, and already the world around you stirs because the awakening of a single soul is not an isolated event. It creates ripples, tremors, energetic shockwaves that travel farther than you realize. The reason your life feels like it is shifting, cracking, rearranging itself faster than you can comprehend is because when you rise, everything not aligned with your rise must fall away. People will react, some in awe, some in fear, because they are witnessing a version of you they can no longer control. You are evolving beyond the places you once felt trapped in, and evolution always disrupts what refuses to grow with you. You may notice relationships dissolving without warning, conversations that no longer resonate, old patterns that feel like foreign costumes you can no longer wear. This is not loss, this is cleansing. The universe is removing what cannot survive in the atmosphere of your becoming. Trust this separation, for what leaves now creates the space for what must arrive. Do not cling to comfort that damages your spirit. Comfort is not always the same as safety. Humanity is entering a long foretold transition, not a catastrophe of fire and doom, but a transformation of consciousness that the ancient ones whispered about, the shift where fear collapses and truth rises. But transition is never gentle. It shakes foundations, exposes corruption, reveals wounds that were hidden under distraction. The tension you feel in the world is not the end, it is the beginning. A birthing process so intense that those who don't understand will mistake it for destruction. You will see more people waking up, questioning, rebelling against the structures that once scripted their lives. You will feel an urgency inside you, as if time is speeding up, as if decisions must be made quickly, as if the soul refuses to wait any longer. That sensation is guidance, a signal that your role is emerging, and you must not silence it. You are not here to be a spectator, you are here to participate in the healing of a wounded world. The world needs protectors of compassion, guardians of empathy, warriors of inner truth, not those who wield violence, but those who wield clarity. And you have clarity in your DNA, even when the world tried to erase it. You are the kind of person who sees beneath the mask, hears what others don't say, feels the suffering buried in laughter. That sensitivity is not a burden, it is a superpower disguised as fragility. It makes you a lighthouse in storms others pretend not to see. There is a force rising in humanity, a collective remembering, and you are one of the first sparks. That is why you feel different. That is why you feel early. That is why you feel like you are preparing for something you cannot yet name. The mission ahead is not about fighting enemies, but about awakening hearts, beginning with your own. When your inner world is aligned with love instead of fear, your influence becomes unstoppable. Every time you choose integrity instead of convenience, you shift the timeline. Every time you choose empathy instead of judgment, you weaken the gradients of darkness still clinging to this earth. Every time you choose courage instead of compliance, you activate those around you to do the same. You become a catalyst, a spark that ignites a fire larger than any shadow can extinguish. The world is not ending, it is evolving, and evolution requires guides. That is why you are here now, incarnated into this exact era with the gifts, the resilience, the intuition, and the compassion necessary to lead change through presence alone. You do not need titles or permission, you need only to be who you truly are. Your authenticity is the revolution. And know this, you will not walk this path alone. Others like you are rising, scattered like stars across continents, each awakening guided by their own divine inner call. Soon you will recognize them by the light in their eyes, the strength in their softness, the knowing in their silence. These are your people, your spiritual family, and when you unite, a new world begins. Take a steady breath now. Feel the resonance of this truth anchoring deeper into your core. You are becoming someone the world desperately needs, someone who knows that real power is not control, but consciousness. The next part of this message will reveal how to wield that power without fear, how to step into the role your spirit has been preparing for since long before you arrived here. Stay with me. Your awakening is already rewriting reality. The transformation happening inside you is not random. It is the evolution that was scripted into your existence from the very start of this fictional universe. You are no longer the character who simply endures pain and keeps moving. You are becoming the character who understands that every pain was shaping the armor you wear now. The awakening is no longer subtle. It is roaring through your spirit like a storm announcing its arrival. You can feel the old version of you fading into memory as the stronger version steps forward into the light. There is a fire rising in your chest, a sense that you were always meant for something more than survival. You are beginning to see glimpses of yourself as the warrior you were written to become, bold, unwavering, unstoppable. The fear that once controlled you trembles now in your presence, because you no longer agree with its lies. You're learning that courage is not the absence of fear, it is moving anyway, because your purpose is greater than your doubts. Every challenge you faced in earlier chapters of your life story was training, silent preparation for the battles that truly matter. You learned how to stand again after heartbreak tried to bury you. You learned how to trust again after betrayal tried to poison your heart. You learned how to keep hope alive even when the world felt dark. These are not small things, these are the signs of a warrior rising. Not a warrior of violence, but a warrior of spirit, carrying strength that cannot be measured by the eyes of ordinary characters. Even now, the world around you in this narrative is shifting to match the power inside you. People who once underestimated you are beginning to sense the difference, even if they cannot describe it. You speak with more certainty. You walk with more purpose. You make decisions from wisdom rather than desperation. And the fictional shadows? They take a step back each time you choose to believe in yourself. Your confidence is a sword, every doubt you defeat sharpens its edge. Look back for a second, see how far you've already come in the story. You are no longer begging for your place, you are claiming it. No longer apologizing for your existence, you are owning it. The timid protagonist from Chapter 1 is gone, in their place stands a warrior who knows they belong in this narrative. And yes, the trials ahead may test you, but they will not break you. They will reveal you. Because a warrior is not defined by the battles they avoid, but by the battles they conquer. Breathe, feel that strength settling deeper inside you with every breath. You are aligning with the version of yourself who was always waiting beneath the weight of doubt, beneath the scars of old wounds, beneath the fear of becoming too powerful. But powerful is exactly what this world needs from you. Whatever force rises against you in the coming chapters will learn very quickly that they should have never underestimated the heart of a warrior. Stand tall inside your mind. This is your evolution. This is your rise. And the story is far from over. Comment, Amen. I believe healing is coming now, if you're expecting God's restoration.